Before we get started, we wanted to thank Matchstick Golf for being our first title sponsor. Matchstick is a custom designer of ball markers based in Portland, Oregon, that was born out of its founder getting sick and tired of trying to find cool ball markers that weren't huge, heavy poker chips that didn't cost $300 on eBay. Matchstick's markers include the one-eyed alligator from Happy Gilmore, a stack of cash that will have you putting for dough. Right now, Matchstick is offering 15% off your first order at matchstickgolf.com with the code Municipals. So head on over to matchstickgolf.com, enter Municipals at checkout, tell them Big C in Ashton sent you.
How hard did you push it? Till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, Municipals? This is Big C and Ashton and Jack. We are full back for the year. I am so excited. Today we are talking goals, all the goals, all three of us, everything that will be achieved this year. What's happening, Ashton? How you doing, buddy?
I'm okay. I think, I tended to record a lot by chance on Braves playoff games, and that worked well. Braves won the World Series, thank God. And now we're doing this like 7 minutes left for the national championship, which we probably could have planned better. And by the time this debuts, people will know if Georgia won or lost. We'll probably know this while we're recording, but a goal for 2022 is that Georgia wins the national championship. So let's hope that happens.
Let's go, Dogs.
Look, even if you don't like Georgia, don't tell me you like fucking Alabama at this point.
No.
Like, it's like the evil empire. Like, you can't.
I got no skin in the game.
Mark? No. You guys are family. Like,
I don't have any loyalty.
Hussey yesterday was making fun of me. Like, Georgia. I'm like, dude, if Cal's ever in the national championship, well, I can't imagine that'll happen.
Won't.
But I'll pull for Cal. Yeah, I'll pull for him. So,
unless they leave the Pac-12.
Well, the Pac-12 is a fucking disgrace. That's a whole second conversation. Oh God, I cancel Sharp Park and call the Pac-12 a disgrace. Just eating out of the listeners' hands on that one. So cancel my ass again.
Somebody's gonna shit on you.
Yeah, Jack, save me. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right, guys. I'm excited for this pod. I've actually been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks. Especially after we had a chat last week about our overall podcast goals, which we're not going to talk about, and also listening to other pods. Like, very excited because, for me, I think there's that little bit of sense of accountability from my friends that I talk golf with and play golf with all the time that I'm really looking forward to this year. I'm going into, I'm just going to call it my 5th year of playing golf. Started playing golf in 2017, so very excited to have that piece of and kind of explore that piece with you all.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, I think that I never do a good enough job. I think goals feel daunting, because partly some of the time it's like, well, why wasn't, why did I just decide on January 1st to do this? Why haven't I been doing it? But I do think that it's a great time for reflection, and hopefully, I think what I'm excited also is y'all don't know my goals. I don't know yours. I think they're good. But I'm also curious to get some feedback, what I might have missed. And by the time we come off here, really kind of putting this stuff into concrete and holding each other accountable. And I'm excited for that because, we all talk so much. And Jack, I see you so much too. It's like, if you're like, hey, I'm not going to, eat Cheetos, like I'm going to see it eventually if you're eating Cheetos. Like, I see you enough. I'm going to see that the Cheeto stuff all over your mustache. This podcast is off to a weird start. So again, someone save me.
All right, who are we going to start with? It's going to be one of you two guys because I like to get sandwiched in between.
All right,
Chris, the Grand Poobah, take us off.
Let's do this. So, main goals for me is, you guys might have heard a little bit about it in the last episode. Health is my main goal here this year. There's going to be a lot of things tied in with that, but getting healthier, losing some weight, becoming more flexible, tying in with kind of finding my coach as well. So, I've got a couple guys that I have listed that I'm going to interview over the next few weeks and kind of chat with and hopefully lock in an actual swing coach here soon and really see somebody on the regular at least 2 times a month. I need somebody in my life that's going to keep me on, the straight and narrow and be able to, dial in my swing, because since I've tore my hamstring, I've kind of ham and egged my fucking swing. Like, I can make it work. I can shoot decent numbers, but it's not what I'm used to in my past. I'm used to being a 4, low single handicap. And right now being, hovering around a 9 for myself, probably trending more towards a 10 or 11. It's been such a fucking struggle. And especially with my long game, it's been probably the worst it's ever been since I was like 15 years old. Like, I can't hit a 3-wood right now, which you both know my life revolves around my 3-wood in my golf game. And I can't hit it. Yeah. I can't hit a wood over 200 yards right now. Doesn't matter what it is.
Huh.
And
do you feel like that's physical fitness wise, Chris?
A little bit of that, but I'm also hitting really behind the ball. I'm trying to I'm trying to do all these diagnoses. And what it's just not helping me. I need somebody from the outside to look at my swing and see and really, diagnose and break me down to get back to where I need to be. Because I think I'm dipping my front shoulder, and then I try to correct that, and then I come up under it and I'm getting too much spin, and then I start scooping it and I start hitting them dead left. It's just a fucking shit show. Like, me trying to self-diagnose myself and fix these flaws without having somebody else kind of go like, no, we need to let's start over here. Let's rebuild you. Let's take it from there. My iron game, to be honest, is fine. It is what it's as good as it's ever been. But for some reason, I have like massive mental block, and I think it might be a little bit with me tearing my hamstring when I was hitting a wood, which might be that I just can't like throw my whole, I can't put the effort I want into it, or I slow down through the ball. There's just a whole bunch of shit going on mentally there too. So I just need to work through some things, get a coach, and get that stuff dialed in, because I have big goals when it comes to tournaments this year. So I did sign up, instead of just going through a random Oregon, online group. I decided to join an actual group through the OGA this year, which you guys, I know Ashton's a member of. I don't know if Jack is, but
no, he is. Yeah.
Oh, Northwest Golf. Are you? So you guys are Bay Area golf guys, OGA or
NorCal golf guys here.
Yeah, NorCal golf guys. Sorry.
Yep.
The golf guys, depending on where you are located, USGA handicaps can come through them. So I signed up through their Northwest golf guys out here in Portland.
That's awesome, man. So much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Excited to start playing some of their tournaments mixed in with some of the tournaments through Golf Week magazine as well. And then I'm also trying to play as many USGA events as I can this year in qualifiers. So if I'm going to even get fucking close to trying to play some of these USGA events, I definitely need to get going like ASAP on my fucking long game, because I know my putting's there, my short game's there, my game basically from 180 in is fine, but I need to fucking be able to get the ball out there so I could fucking utilize what I'm best at. So once I get that dialed in, I think I'll be able to kind of tackle these. But for 2022 tournaments that I want to play this year are going to be, again, some of the Northwest Golf guys mixed in with the Golf Week magazine tour, AM tour stuff. And then I'm also going to try to go out for the Oregon Mid-Am qualifier. They're still determining the dates and locations for them. So I don't really have any of that information, but I'm also going to go for the Oregon Public Links Championship, which is usually held, somewhere at a pretty cool Great Links place out here. And then the Oregon 4-Ball Championship, I'm going to try to play in that as well this year, as well as the OGA Men's Team Championship. So those
competitive golf.
Yeah. So this is kind of the year competitive golf. Get those juices flowing, especially because we, the Municipals, have the cookout coming at the end of April, which is probably the most important tournament, the most sought after tournament for myself this season. Ryder Cup
I didn't know
style.
we're talking about this yet. Interesting. We're talking about
We're
this.
throwing it out there. So
out there. Invite only.
I know we're public golf podcast guys. I apologize if we ever get to a point where we can open this thing up. It would be great, but trying to organize
your tea gift are velvet $2,000 Gucci velvet loafers. No,
definitely not. Definitely not. But trying to organize this fucking tournament with just 32 guys has already been an absolute fucking chore. Ashton can contest because he is the one that's done most of this. And
bro, so sorry, missed your 3 emails over the last couple months. Where's the invite? It was in the email. Oh, sick, man. Where's the link? The blue thing in the middle. You just click it. Oh, sick. What do you know by? Oh, last Wednesday. Okay, cool.
Oh man. So it's been an adventure to try to get this all locked in. Still trying to get it locked in. We're close. We're getting there, but really excited for it. We're going to have it Ryder Cup style, which is going to be awesome with a live draft the day before the first day of events, which is 36 holes. I think I can speak for all 3 of us, probably one of our favorite golf courses in all of California, at least. Soul Park out in Ojai, California. If you haven't ever played Soul Park, if you listen to the podcast, you've definitely heard about Soul Park. We've talked about Soul Park endlessly. So I don't need to go into how awesome Soul Park is, but it is a gem, and we're fucking excited to have them host us for our first annual cookout, which is going to be just a fucking blast. So
yeah, and for listeners, we're definitely hoping to expand on this. This is our first foray, but yeah, like Chris said, Ryder Cup style, 36 holes on Saturday, doing best ball in the morning, all shot in the afternoon, and then Sunday, mono singles. So definitely learned a lot kind of putting this together. But I think the big thing more than anything, it's a course we love. The staff has been amazing. And there's going to be a lot of, not video, but there's going to be a lot of kind of content around there, talking about how it went, lessons learned. And certainly hoping to open that up at some point to make it more of a, again, similar to how we're copying in certain, some certain of our idols, like this is, we're not making any money on this. That's not how we're doing this. This is for our friends, but certainly would love to have more municipals hosted events and continue to meet people across the country. So something we'll keep you all posted on, but yeah, it's definitely going to be fun to 1, host our own tournament, but 2, to your point, Chris, like, the juices are going to be going. I mean, I don't know if y'all have. I've never done alt shot. Like, it's going to be a lot of new experiences, and it's going to kind of hit you in the feels a very different way. And I'm excited to feel those feelings,
Alt shot might be one of my favorite ways to play golf because it especially when you're playing in like a Ryder Cup style or you have a large team event, pairing up the correct people together is so fucking crucial to have a good alt shot team, because and the thing is, you can't have somebody that hits it really long but's not a good putter, because it's alt shot. So like if the long driver putts on the last hole, the other guy that might not be a good driver has to drive on the next hole. So you don't really want to like fully go based on strengths like that, but it creates a kind of a dilemma for the captains to be able to pair the correct people together. And also, personalities are a big thing when it comes to like that, because if you've got a timid guy and then you got a guy that fucking throws clubs, which hopefully we're not inviting anybody that throws clubs.
I'll just say it right now, you can hold me accountable. I can be the sheriff. If you throw a club, you're uninvited. Like I won't tell you then, but you will not receive the invite for the 2023 cookout, and you can come at me if you want to. #Sharp Park, #Cheetos, whatever I said earlier.
But it's
spicy. It's spicy. I don't know what's going on.
I think it's a game, but
well, Georgia's now up by 8. They just scored again. So I mean, I'm feeling. I don't know. I might start taking my clothes off at the end of this game.
Confidence.
Go Dogs.
But yeah, so all shots great. We're really excited for the tournament. It's going to be a fucking blast. But
yeah,
that's really my main goals, guys. Like I'm, health, playing competitively as much as possible. Really what I'm trying to dive into this year. So,
cool. Thank you for sharing. That's helpful. So I'm curious to be specific on a couple things. So health. Any sub goals there? Like, I mean, are you trying to meal prep or numbers of times at the gym? You don't have to be prescriptive, but I'm curious, like, what does health mean to you, Chris?
Me, mostly, having better heart health, cardio health is more important for me than probably strength. Flexibility, really just being able to get back to, having the cardio to where if we do go to Bandon, which we have a 2023, deadline for me to get to, I need to have the cardio to be able to do back-to-back 36 whole days walking. Like I need to be able to, tackle a course that might be extremely, rough terrain and still walk 18, instead of like choosing to pick a cart or do those things. So getting back to where I feel comfortable and confident enough where I can get through a full 18 and like, really be able to play my best, but also enjoy the walk with the homies, because it's fun. Like I don't mind riding in a cart. Like there's pluses and minuses to it. Like I'm able to like, have all my extra stuff that I want to have with me. I can have like a really big ass speaker. I can, have like a million fucking snacks, but that's probably bad because I'm trying to become healthy and I probably shouldn't have a million snacks with me. But
a million snacks is a lot.
It's a lot. Sometimes I pack my bag real tight. But it's just enjoying the walk again. I would just really want to get back to that because I think I really miss it. And I know because of, past injuries and things like that. But it's also, I've kind of used that as a crutch over the last year to not really fucking try to get back to where I want to be. So yeah, long-winded explanation, but that's really what I mean by health. And, strength can come later, but it's really based on my heart health and cardio.
Yeah. Okay. I know I'm being annoying, but one more question. Like, do you have a goal in mind of like, you're going to try to go for a 30-minute walk a day? Like specifically for cardio, do you have a goal there?
Yeah. So one thing I know me and my wife talked about, we definitely want to start going to either like an Orange Theory or rowing classes together. And then on top of that, also eventually get ourselves a rowing machine that we have in the actual house that I can utilize daily. So at least put an hour into that every day, which is, from what I've read, for golfers, probably one of the better ways to go about cardio, because it's not only working on your cardio, but it's working on your lower body and your chest and core. So, that's kind of the route that I want to go with it.
Beautiful. Also, pick 6 Georgia, 32-18. This shit is over.
I'm just glad Alabama's losing. Sorry if we have any Southern Bama fans, but not sorry because we have a Georgia Bulldog on this fucking podcast, so you should already know.
And people are listening probably like, how is he not being emotive? I feel like the Georgia is like, I just, we're not going to talk about this any longer, but I'm shell shocked. Like, I've had the worst sports luck my whole life, and it's going to be the best 4 months of my life. So, yeah. So goal 1, check. But Chris, I wanted to say thank you for sharing all this. Also, too, I was walking around Trader Joe's listening to you last week, and well, first of all, I appreciate, one thing I'm most proud of we talked about is we didn't fucking miss a podcast last year. We obviously skipped the holidays because I think y'all were doing other stuff too, but we didn't miss a podcast. So I appreciate you stepping in last week, and also just appreciated your vulnerability, man. I mean, I think that, HIPAA law protects anybody from asking you about your health or what's going on, but I just appreciated you being vulnerable, and sharing. And as your friend, more than anything, I got your back 100%, whatever you need. And again, really just appreciate the vulnerability, because it takes a lot to be able to say that and own that publicly. And just appreciate you sharing a lot, man. It's the vulnerability is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's something that I've grown into over the years, to where I feel that everybody should have a space where they should feel comfortable and vulnerable in their own skin. So I hope more people, or if anybody feels that they're confined or can't speak out, I hope some people kind of get some things out of the last episode, because I think more people should be able to speak their truths and kind of get it out and speak about those things. So, if you're not willing to be open with other people, you're not going to be open with yourself, and you're just not going to grow as a person. So those things definitely need to be let out of the bag.
Yeah. I just wanted to, again, say thank you, Chris. But okay, Mr. Alfred Jack Lopez, it is time to hear about how you're going to hit
Angel
500 cuts every single day. Hit us with those goals, baby.
First of all, it's not 500 cuts a day, but
only 200.
It's like 150 every 3 practice sessions or something like that. But I think the way that I want to talk about my goals is twofold. So I actually set my golf goals back in December. So golf goals, and then I'm still kind of trying to figure out like some personal goals. Some of them tie together, but generally the theme for my overall kind of theme, taking in from our I guess, can we say our friends at No Laying Up, because we've talked to Tron. I feel like y'all talked to him a couple times. So our friends at No Laying Up, I like doing this theme thing, and my overall theme for this year is really spirit and discipline. For me, the last really 2 years, I feel like it's a lot of searching for identity of who I am outside of spending 8.5 years in the Marine Corps and in the military. And for me, I think, one, I unexpectedly found, a group of friends that share a lot of the same values and share the same things that I like, and really appreciate the time that we've all spent together. Us, Hussey, other guys that I've met through the RGC group, and unexpectedly, I've found that tribe of golfers that I regularly play with, regularly go out with, which I think was one of the hardest things, that, or at least finding your tribe, finding your community, getting out of the military is probably one of the hardest things to do. So I feel like this year for me is that spirit that I'm trying to find is like really solidifying my identity out of the experiences that I've had. And then the other part is just discipline, which is just like being more, getting back to myself, that super diligent with the things that I do, and, not procrastinating, and really being able to accomplish the goals that I set my mind to. I really, that part of me, that's one part of me that I really miss, is just being able to be like, all right, it's 5 a.m. I'm waking up, I'm doing all the shit that I want to do. I haven't had that over the last 2.5 years. I've had some other stuff in my life that I've been going through, and basically just want to get back to an old, or want to get back an older part of myself that's that I was really proud of. On the golf side, just diving into that, the big overall thing that I want to be able to do is to play with a lot of presence, focus, and execution. And when I'm out playing golf, like, of course, the part that I really like about golf is just when I'm able to execute things that I've been able to practice. But the focus, that's the focus and execution part. But the being present part of it is really, not being distracted by other things. Being able to stay there and like enjoy the time that whether it's 4.5 hours or 6 hour round. When I'm playing with someone, I want to be able to enjoy that time and just play as well as I can. So I have a couple of, maybe I don't have to really go through all of them, but I have a big laundry list of kind of like golf goals that I want to hit. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll likely see it, and kind of the way that I'm approaching these goals. So I'm kind of doing it with a specific 5 specific things every month that I want to kind of like breaking it down as like subtasks almost. But before I get into that, I'll just give examples of that when I get through all of the lists that I have. So 5 handicap is 5 handicap index is my goal for end of the year. I want to be able to get 5 consecutive rounds in the 70s. Last year, I only broke 80 like 5 times, I think. I want to get 5 rounds consecutively with no doubles. That's a huge thing because doubles are my score killer. I think I was telling you guys I played at Calipe with Munda, and I only had 1 double through like 15 holes, and then doubled the last 3 holes, which put me over fucking, I think I posted like an 82, and I was like fucking kicking myself because I had 9 straight pars, and I was like, why can't I just do that every single fucking time? I also want to have 5 consecutive rounds with 2 to 3 birdies per round. I feel like that's pretty achievable, probably later half of the year. And then I want 8 consecutive rounds with no 3 putts. I think last year I got pretty close to that, actually. Surprisingly, with that, with playing as basically a 9-10 handicap, like there was a stretch of time where I didn't 3 putt for like a month and a half, and I played a lot during that time. I think those are like August through September. So that's a pretty big one, because I've noticed in the last 2 months I've maybe averaged like 2-3 putts every 2 rounds. So that's one goal. Little bit of a sub goal that's because of the GIN app. Par threes, I want to average 3.3 scoring by end of year. Par 4, 4.3. Par 5, 5.2 scoring by end of year. And then, like Chris was saying earlier, tournament wise, I definitely want to try to explore this competitive side of golf a little bit more. So in 2020, I was like, oh man, like it'd be really cool to like go try to qualify for a mid-am or something like that. but I feel like I'm not there yet. Like I'd like to probably be a scratch golfer to try and qualify for a mid-am. So my goals are a little bit, more manageable this year at 4 to 5 NC or NorCal Golf Guy events. Try to win at least one of them. And then just a couple of other like not really on the course goals or not playing goals. Get fitted.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Are we actually going to allow me to fit you, or is it going to be like, we're only getting fitted in Callaway and graphite design shafts? So
no, I mean, like I'm at a good starting point. We talked about it.
New irons because it was such a smoking deal.
It was a smoking deal, man. It was like $800 for some T100Ss. That's a pretty good deal.
Last week. So which is it?
Well, I mean, like with shipping. So yeah.
You just saw the ghost of his dead grandmother or something. Like your grandmother
anyway. Anyway.
I love how we're just letting you check all this stuff. I want to not 3-putt for 10 years with nothing, and then I want to get fit. We're like, bullshit.
I know at least my iron shafts are gonna get fitted, but get fitted, get that experience so I actually understand what Chris does for a living. And then a couple of other ones. Big one, once I feel like I get to a certain point, is actually to get a lesson. I mean, as you both know, like I literally, my friend invited me to go play golf. I bought like this $99 set of Strata clubs and then hit the range for like 3 weeks, figured something out, and then I was like, all right, like I'll go play. So a lot of like my swing is literally like built by YouTube, built by GolfWorks, built by some other forums. So getting a lesson, and like once I really feel comfortable about like, okay, like this is as much as I can try to figure out with my swing, getting a lesson at some point, probably in the spring, early summer timeframe is the goal for that one. And then just a couple of other like weird ones. Play all the Pebble courses. Not in the year, but like I want to play Pebble Beach, Del Monte, and what was the other one?
Spanish and Spyglass.
Yeah, so I want to play Spanish again. So I guess this isn't all the Pebble courses, but Spanish, Pebble, and Del Monte, because I just played Spyglass. So just because like Spanish Bay was like my very first like real golf experience outside of Moffett Field, and that was like the second round of golf that I ever played, and I was like, oh, like I kind of want to go back there and like see how I'd play now. So I feel like that'd be cool. And then play Pasa this year. That's kind of a maybe. Like doesn't have to happen.
It should be an annual thing. I think it's like once a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I was gonna say, like if it's it was really fun when we all played together. I know Chris, it's a little bit harder for you to get up here, but
flights to Monterey aren't bad from Portland.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like doing something at Pasa, just because that was such a fun golf memory for me with you guys. And then pretty much the way that I'm trying to achieve some of these goals, or at least the on-course specific ones, every month I've just listed like 5 things that I want to do, 5 things, of things that I want to do to like get better at specific golf skills, and to kind of get back that discipline part that I was talking about, where it's like, like I don't want to just take on something like head on without kind of having a plan for it. But basically, like I know on my what I need to work on is my approach game. Like that's kind of what kills my scores the most is, I'll hit a good drive, but then my big miss right now is like a 30, 40, 50 yard pull. and that puts me in a lot of like really bad places on the left side of the golf course. And I'm just working on a stock cut shot. That's kind of my what I want to achieve by February, is to be able to hit a stock cut shot so that I can like have something to rely on when I'm with my approach shots. It's honestly like really feels like it's mostly my 8 iron to 5 iron is like what I don't have a stock cut shot on. Like if I hit draws, like as you guys saw when we went to Vegas, like if I'm playing a draw, which is my technical stock cut shot because of my path, like I can play with it, but it's just so like it's less controllable than it really feels like. And I feel like hitting a cut as a stock shot with irons will make me a better player, because I mean, all you guys hit, what is it, like 90% of golfers have a cut as a stock shot or something like that. So in January, just as an example, January, I want to go to the range and drill 200 cut shots a week. That's broken down into like 3 range sessions a week. With my woods, keep doing what I'm doing well, which is hitting a stock draw. So I'm going to hit 100 draws a week. And then to keep with my putting, which is not a bad part of my game, is just right now, like short putts is kind of where I'm not paying that much attention. So when I hit 500 3-footers a week, and then the one kind of like drill that I'm working on this month is just this like tiger freeze drill, which is you basically take the club back at top, and then you like, that's how you work on your positions. So you take it back, freeze, and then you take your shot. So I've been working on that over the last couple of weeks. So that's how I'm trying to achieve those golf goals. And then one that I tried last year, this is more kind of like golf adjacent, is I want to host a fundraising event specifically to give back to the veteran community. What I wanted to do was like a 2-man scramble basically, and I want to call it the Foxhole, because I could explain it later, but basically I want to do a fundraising event. Doesn't have to be, any time in the next 6 months, but sometime this year is like legit put together a 2-man scramble for fundraising, and to give back to at least one of the the only nonprofit that I signed up for and was able to take advantage to when I was transitioning out of the Marine Corps. So giving back to that ties to my other like personal goal of really just giving back to the veteran community. So going to my personal goals, again, this is one that I haven't really thought much about just because I've had a lot of golf in my mind, but similar to you, Chris, just like being more healthy for me is a big goal. And then part of that is part of the discipline stuff that I was talking about earlier, is like by February, I want my body clock to be waking me up naturally at 5 a.m. again. So that's one. But the health thing ties a bit to golf, but also ties to, just like some kind of, like not necessarily health scares, but, my family has a history of diabetes, high cholesterol, lung cancer, because my dad's side, a lot of smokers on that side of the family. My dad passed away with lung cancer a couple years ago. So I'm fairly determined not to be that person in my family who's like, going to suffer from genetic conditions essentially. And then my mom also has been in the hospital a couple of times with, just pneumonia, and also she's waiting on a test for COVID. Like she just had COVID during Christmas. So that kind of worries me a little bit, but she's always been healthy and she's fighting through it. just quarantining at home, so she's not in the hospital, which is great. But really just to, not like one to enjoy golf and be able to perform as best as I can when I'm trying to enjoy myself out in the course. And then also, just stay fit and stay healthy so that I can keep living my life. And then kind of similar to that, like I have like these 1 or 2 habits that I'm trying to build throughout the month, throughout the year. First one from last week was like drinking a gallon of water a day, like drinking one of these 64 ounce 64 ounce bottles like before noon, and then drinking another half or another full one before I go to sleep. So little things like that I'm trying to do, again, just to build good habits and kind of, like with personal goals, still trying to figure out like that spirit part of it, and, trying to figure out what else I need to do on that end to improve myself.
And so, Jack, lofty weekly goals when it comes to practice regiments. Like, out of everything you said, I was like, that is crazy lofty. You are very lucky that you are not married, because there's no way I'd be able to get that much practice in, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's so I've been sticking to it pretty well. Well, sorry, this ties back into the discipline part a little bit. I think for a good stretch around fall, summer, I was doing like one practice session is just like hitting balls and working on drills. The other one is for short game, so chipping around the green, and then the other practice session is strictly for putting, because I don't have a putting mat at home right now. But yeah, like I want to get back to that also, versus what I got to over basically October through November was like, all right, I'm going to just keep working on this drill and kind of like devolve into that basic mindset of just like, oh, okay, like I'm going to try to fix every single thing that I'm doing wrong. If I'm pulling it a lot, like I'm trying to fix that. If I'm pushing it a lot, I'm trying to fix that. It's like, I think Ashton, well, actually, yeah, all 3 of us have talked about it along with Hussey before. Like, you have to trust the process. Like sometimes you're going to go to the range, you're going to go practice, and it's not going to be exactly, like it's not the results that you're going to see, but you just have to trust that process of like, all right, like I have to do this drill to keep working on this. Like once I get to a certain point there, then I can trust it and like just keep working on it. So yeah, I mean, I feel like 3 times a week is not that bad. I'll probably like, try to go twice during the week and then 1 time during the weekend, because, part of my personal fitness goals during this year is to get to a point where I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. So it's not going to be sustainable for me to like go to the gym 3 times a week during the weekday and then also in the evening like go hit 150 balls to like practice cuts and draws. Like there's going to be like some adjustments there for sure.
Yeah, if I could give you any advice, if you're going to be spending a lot of time on the putting green, and this is for you too, Ashton, I would recommend getting a putting mirror. Probably one of the best tools you possibly could have for putting, just because it allows you to square up your shoulders. It allows you to see where your hand placements are, where your eye placement is over the ball. When it comes down to 3-footers to 6-footers, that is probably the most important thing that you can absolutely do, is be square to the target and hit your lines. And the putting mirror might be my favorite tool, and I've used it since I was in high school. And so like, oh, wow. I've had a putting mirror for fucking 18 years. Like I've always had one, and I've probably bought and tried like every brand out there. There really isn't a bad one that you can go with, and you can get one on Amazon for $20-$30.
Yeah. That brings up a good point for me when you're talking about alignment, because I do have a pocket putting mirror, and when I know I'm like, what I tend to do with my putts is I hit the toe, and like that, as you know, like that sometimes depending on the path of your putter, like that can go either right or left, right? Like you could pull it really bad, or you could basically shank it off the toe. So like I know I'm messing up with my putting when my eyes aren't lined up right over the ball. And that's just something that I think it might have been like a Justin Thomas thing that he was talking about a couple of years ago on golf.com. But yeah, that's a great tip, man. And I think just going back to the one lesson goal, that's the thing that I feel like, you know, would help me most. Lessons wise would help me the most is like getting a good setup, because when I feel like I have a good setup going, like I can play pretty freely and not even worry about like, oh, like I push my drive a little bit. Like I know I hit a good drive because I feel good with my setup. Like that's when I get into trouble, is when I'm like, all right, like just fucking around so much with my setup, you know, like am I tilting this way too much, or are my shoulders too square? Like that's the big thing that I would want to get a lesson in, is like, is my setup really good? And then the second part of that is like, am I taking the club away in the proper direction?
Well, a good coach will give you one to maybe two things to think about within your setup every single time and simplify it for you. And that's something I'm sure Ashton can speak on as well. Like, that's the one thing they don't want you to do, is to have 15 things that you think about while you're setting up for the ball. They want you to literally line up, separate your feet, basically place the ball where you are, line up and hit the ball. Like they want you to have it as simple as possible. And to ease your mind is probably the biggest thing, is to be able to just have those simple thoughts that are just repeatable over and over again. And that's how you're going to score really well. So I think your goals are very obtainable. And I think that's what I appreciate about all your goals. I think those are all things that you definitely could obtain. And for you kind of being self-taught for 5 years, you are at a pretty damn fucking good level play-wise. Like, for never having really a professional lesson and kind of starting on your own. So I give you mad props for that. And just where you are, having those, like, kind of in the same similar best with me, like, I've been at many different levels in my golf game. Like, I've been near scratch and I've been a 20 handicap throughout my entire life. So it's like I've seen it all and I've done it all. And having a third party or having someone else look from afar that his job and what he's good at and what they've been trained to do is to analyze your swing and help you get it to its most optimal level is probably the best thing you could do.
Yeah. And one of the reasons, I mean, because us four, including Hussey, we've been talking a lot about instruction pretty recently. Like, I want to find a coach who's going to kind of help me diagnose it as well. Who's going to be like, all right, like once you start feeling this, like if you're, you know, like if you're hitting a lot of chunks, like, you know, it's either your ball position or your path or whatever it is, right? Like, I want someone who's going to be like that versus somebody who I'm going to have to go to like every month, basically. Like, I don't want to take lessons every month. Like, I just want someone who's going to be like helping me with the specific things that I feel like I need help with, or what they diagnose. And then being like, all right, like just keep working on this, like keep drilling it. And then, you know, if you ever have that problem again, like, hey, like have somebody else, have this person look as well. I feel like that's like a kind of like an underrated thing, is like picking your instructor. You know, obviously, like there's instructors who want you to keep coming back so they can make money. That's their livelihood, and I don't knock them for that. But, you know, I that's kind of what I'm looking for, is I want someone who's like, hey, let's figure out what the problem is. Let's get you to a specific, you know, specific thing. And then once you get to that level that you like, then if you have other goals, like let's help you accomplish that.
So if I could give you any advice in that aspect, golf is very much like learning a math equation. You need to first learn how to do it. You then need to learn how to actually do the process to complete that actual math problem. And then third, you need to master it. So if I can tell you anything, you need to at least see an instructor in like a 3-4 like time frame of like a month or two. So instead of just seeing him once and then kind of trying to utilize that information from that 1 hour that you've seen him, you need to see him for an hour, go on your own for a couple weeks, see him again for an hour, go on your own for a couple weeks, and then see him again. And then those things will solidify, and then you can come back to him 3-4 months later if you're having issues, if you're not, saying things are falling apart and they're not clicking anymore, and then kind of reset yourself again. Because 1 hour session, I'm going to tell you right now, is a waste of your money. It's just, you're going to see him. He's going to tell you a bunch of shit you need to work on. You're going to try to remember all of that stuff. And then it's just going to fucking fall apart. Where like you get 2 weeks to try it. And then you go back. He re-emphasizes all that shit. You go back and things start clicking. And then you go back a third time. And then he's like, starts locking it in with you.
Got it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I didn't mean it like, oh, I want to go to this guy once, but yeah, like I want someone who's like also going to teach me like, what to look for at a certain point. Because
finding the right coach is very, very important. Very important. Going to just a random fucking Joe Schmo that's at your local fucking pro shop at the 9-holer down the street. Sometimes you'll run into a fucking great pro that's at a place like that, but going on to the PGA of America and doing your research through like an accredited place to find a class A. So there's different classes of people as well with PGA professionals. And if I can recommend anything to you, find a class A coach in your area. Those guys are going to be the ones most knowledgeable, have gone through it, know how to work with different types of golfers.
Yeah. And honestly, like I'll probably go to a coach that Ashton or Chris are going to. Ashton, I just can't remember if you're still.
Merrick,
if you're still doing Brad.
He's fantastic.
Yeah. So I would rather do that. Like because I mean, I know how you guys have been playing and what you're going through. So I like, yeah, 100% agree. Like I would rather. I don't want to go to just a Joe Schmo, especially because I'm spending so much money on like a recreational activity still. Yeah. And hey, fuck, if I hit the lottery, then maybe, we'll see. And, I'll buy fucking lessons for everybody.
But you can find some guys that are up and coming or making a name for themselves and get a 3-pack for $350.
Yeah.
And that's really reasonable in my mind for the amount of time and effort that you value in your game.
Yeah, for sure. Just one shout out to Ashton for gifting us this book, because actually on my list for February is to read a book. So I'm actually I started chipping away at that, reading like 10 pages a night. So thanks, man.
Did it give you a book or the Kyle Porter book?
Yeah, Kyle Porter book.
Normal Sport. Yeah.
That's all my goals, man. So
love it.
I love it. Makes total sense with your personality. I thought Jack was. I thought you were going to come with.
Jack wasn't going to have something simplistic and straightforward. It was going to be a much more complex weave of different aspects of what he wanted to do throughout his year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making funny, but I love how it's like. I love that you have like the specific scoring averages for every hole. I'm like, what? Like,
I didn't even think about that. I was just like, no, that wasn't even in my realm of what my goals were this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm not like I have like, you can see on my list, like there's there's kind of like this long list. So that's like at the bottom
So many
half of it.
goals.
Like that's like the, that's the, so I have need to have and want to have. So, the need to have goals are quite literally just 5 handicap, 5 consecutive rounds, 8 consecutive rounds. Get fitted is a need to have goal, because I know you guys have been shitting on me for that the last 6 months. And then I have the foxhole tournament. Like, I want to move that to need to have, but some of those I feel like are kind of, like, I can't remember who's talked about it, but like you're laddering up to certain things so that, that you're accomplishing something every time. And for me, like, my personality is like, if I don't feel like I'm accomplishing something, or if there's no progress or some kind of like um, indicator that I'm making it towards that goal, it's a lot harder for me to be like, to stick with it. Like, that's why, as tedious as it is, like the weekly stuff that I want to accomplish, like, I'm not gonna lie, if I don't hit 200 cuts a week, like, I'm not gonna be mad as long as I get close to it. Like, if I get to 150 cuts a week during a practice session, like, I'm happy with that. It's more so little things that I want to be like, okay, going back to what I said, in the beginning of it, like that discipline part, like, because it's such a self-driven thing, the thing I learned about discipline is like, you know, like nobody is like, nobody's berating me, hurting me, putting me in physical pain to like try to accomplish these different things. Like, if I don't have those little kind of like check marks that I want to hit, I don't feel like I'm going to get there.
Yeah, I feel you there. That's yeah. Aim higher, hit your goal that's actually set lower.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to stop rambling and actually pass it off to Ashton. I'm really like curious to see what the love child of, who was it, Ashton, that I compared you to one time? Edgar Allan Poe and somebody else.
That's a deep cut. I don't remember that one.
I remember not liking it. So let's move on from that. Like,
sorry, we'll cut that out.
No, leave it in. Edgar Allan Poe looks like a weird motherfucker. Granted, I'm a weird motherfucker, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny going off of Jack. So I would say that I know you said we're not really doing themes, but I think mine would be the idea of less is more for me. Because now for me, like thinking back to the last couple of years, when it comes to golf, 2020 and 2021 for me were me almost like proving to myself that golf was going to be my thing. Like, I played a lot during COVID, and I joked the reason I went down to True Spec and got fit is I was like, cool, by dropping $5,000, I sort of like, chained myself to the bed, right? It's like, this is my thing. I put a huge dent here. I'm going to do this. But really, the last 2 years have been like, play golf, play golf, play golf. And I've loved it. But I would not say that I have been very thoughtful. And you don't have to be, right? But I mean, it's been more of like, there's a tee time, I'll take it. We're going out the night before, I'm going to feel like shit, doesn't matter. Like, yes, let's play. More. Our golf trip, let's jam in that extra tee time. And I think a lot of what we've learned on the golf trips and otherwise is sometimes less is more, right? So what I want to do is sort of the opposite of Jack, actually. I'm trying to set goals that are, you might look at and go, those seem low. But I think for me at the end of the year, it's suddenly you look and say like, wow, that's a lot more of X that I did last year, right? Because I remember as a kid, my dad is in good shape, always has been. He was actually in the military as well, Jack. He was Army Reserves. And my dad is, my whole life, he does more than this now, but as a kid, he'd always do 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups before bed. And I remember being like, I'm going to do that. And he goes, cool, do 5 of each. I'm like, no, you do 50. He's like, dude, I hate to be this way, but like, if you try to do 50, you're going to do 50 tonight and 0 tomorrow. Like, start low. If you do 5 and 5 and 5 and 5 and 5 becomes 10 and 10, 10, 10 becomes 15, whatever. So what I'm trying to do this year is set goals that are lower, but things that I'm just being aware of certain limitations that I will share, things that I feel like I can do that may not be a lot. Like to bury the lead, I'm going to practice way less than Jack, but way more than I normally do now. Right. So that's kind of the where I'm coming at it from. So from a personal goals, kind of before we dive into golf, this year I'm going to try to read 12 books. This one is a stretch goal because I can tell you I don't read books. I couldn't tell you the last time I finished a book. I listen to audiobooks, but I mean, like, actually, like, this is the book. Again, this is an audio medium. I went to the library. I got a library card. I bought a book, free ad. It's called From the River to the Sea. It's about how railroads made the West. It's a new book I've kind of saw, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to try to do 12 books this year because I think, I'm not, I think mindfulness is important, but I think a good way for me to be more mindful is it means I'm not on my phone. I have a book in my hand and just being present to that. So that's kind of my stretch goal more than anything. Because again, going from 0 books to 12 books is a lot, but I think I can do it. So within golf, like I guess the whole idea, the big thing I'm working on is golf and it being tied to fitness. Because when I went and saw Brad in September, I need to go see him again. That's something else we'll talk about. He sent me to a TPI assessment, and the big thing they said is like, you are not flexible at all. And I know that since I moved from Atlanta, I've lost a lot of strength because I haven't been going to the gym. I've been doing Peloton, been doing other stuff, but I've lost a lot of the strength. I mean, I was to the point where I could do pull-ups. Like I was strong, and I'm not as strong. I'm not really strong at all. I'm lean, but I'm not strong. And so what I also want to do is do 10 minutes of stretching every day. This is totally stolen from Tron and kind of the No Laying Up boys. But I think the way Neil put it is, if you're not doing 10 minutes of stretching, it's just pure laziness, right? Like earlier I was watching the national championship before we signed on. I just rolled out my glutes for 10 minutes. I'm going to count that, right? I can do 10 fucking minutes of stretching, which some people are like, who cares? Over the course of the year, what is that? Like, that's a lot of stretching throughout the year. Last year I did 0 minutes of stretching. So that's, 300 minutes of stretching, 5 hours of stretching a month, 60 hours of stretching a year. That's a lot more stretching than I'm doing. It's just 10 minutes, right? So that's a big one for me. Jack, similar to you, I've done this before, but I've just fallen out of habit. Drink a gallon of water a day. I know that when I used to do this, like Liz, my partner, she drinks a gallon of water before 9 a.m. I don't know how she does it. Like she has the ability to, her fun fact is that she can do it. She's really good at keg stands. So her ability to like consume large amounts of liquid, no inappropriate jokes, is, I don't have that ability. I have to fight through this, but I just know that my body feels great when I can get a lot of water in there. So that's one. And then staying active. And to me, because I like specificity, I'm actually going to be joining when I get back from Hawaii. Probably February 1st, I'm going to be joining a CrossFit gym. I know the connotation that comes with CrossFit, but again, going back to the workout classes every day, I joined an app called Fit for Golf, Mike Carroll, that you guys might have heard from, what am I saying? Chasing Scratch guys. It's like $90 for the year. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll have days where I do lifting there. I'll do some classes, but the big thing is the gym that has what I need with like actual weights in a good setting. So my goal is to stay active. So that's 5 workouts, 1 round of golf. And then also, I never used to do this, but 1 rest day, right? A day to actually and again, probably more stretching on those days. But so staying active is 5 workouts, 1 round of golf, because we all know walking 18 holes is, north of 1,000 calories, and then 1 rest day. So that's 1. Again, not as many as Jack, but my goal is to make 10 3-footers, 3, 4, and 5-footers, 10 apiece every day. 30 putts. It's just 30 putts. It's not a lot. Hopefully I should be missing too many 3-footers. But anecdotally, on our golf trip and even just, I realize I miss a lot of 3-footers. Like I actually make a lot of 10-footers, but I miss a lot of 3-footers. And so, Chris, I'm definitely going to be buying a putting mirror. And again, same idea, 30 putts a day. That's a lot. Like I have this wonderful putting mat that I really don't use. It's kind of just there. 30 putts a day, right? 30 putts a day, 10 minutes stretching, you extrapolate that over a whole year. It's a lot. So it's not a ton, but it's a lot more than I'm doing now. I want to do 2 practice sessions a month. I wish it could be higher. Living in San Francisco and not having a garage, for me, this sounds ridiculous. It takes me about 10 minutes to walk to my car. It takes me anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes to the closest grass range. Then you go and practice. It takes me 30 to 40 minutes to get back to the city. And then at the best, it takes me 10 minutes. At the worst, it's taken me more than an hour to find a parking spot. Practicing is so hard living in San Francisco. It's just not, I wish it was easier. I wish that I could just, like Nick was telling me about how he's got a range, he's got a house, he's got a garage, he has a range that's 6 minutes from his house. I would love to have a higher goal. It's just really fucking hard. And to Jack's point, if I'm going to be at a CrossFit gym 5 days a week, I can't go to the CrossFit gym and then there's not enough time in the day to do all this, right? So 2 practice sessions per month. I wish it could be more, but Brad's given me some good stuff about how to practice diligently. Don't just bang balls. Set, pick out specific targets, work on stuff. So make those two really, really count. And again, last year I probably practiced 5 times. That's 24 practice sessions. It's not a lot, but it's a lot more than I'm doing now. 1 lesson every 2 months. Not going to lie, part of this also, there's going to be a lot of money coming out of the pocket. The gym in San Francisco, not cheap. And so, 1 lesson every 2 months. Brad, I love him. He's not cheap. He's $200 an hour. But once every 2 months. And also, too, I know I'm to the point with my swing where it's more cleanup, right? When I saw Brad, he was like, dude, I was hitting poles. He's like, you're just not behind the golf ball, right? He tweaked me barely at all on my setup. I just started hitting bombs, right? I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying I need tweaks. I need checkups. I'm not going to be working on these crazy things. I just need him to look at me once in a while. So 1 lesson every 2 months, 2 practice sessions per month, staying active, drink a gallon of water a day, 10 minutes of stretching, read 12 books. All feels very doable to me. Again, none of those are crazy. And then the 2 kind of golf specific related goals. Summer of 2020, I got down to a 2.9. Right now I'm a 6.5. I think that even playing less golf, I think I can do better than that. So I'd like to be below a 2.9. And then I stole this one from Neil, but I like it. I want to win a golf tournament. It can be a NorCal Golf Guys with my handicap. I'm not saying it has to be some fucking crazy ass shit, but I would like to win a golf tournament this year. It means I've played well. It means I've executed. It means I've played by the rules. It's meant that, something I can sign my name to and say, I won that tournament. So again, I think all of that's doable. The only one I'm nervous about actually is the 12 books. I think everything else feels pretty doable. So I'm curious, y'all, what does that feel like? I sincerely like your feedback on what you think.
I think you might have the most obtainable goals. Also, the reason I would say that is because you probably have the best game out of all of us as of right now. All around game. Doesn't matter what club you're hitting. You just have the best game probably out of all of us completely. So you don't have as far to go to get to where you need to be to reach your goals, where I have digressed by 70% from where I was 2 years ago. And I have basically have to rebuild my entire upper part of my bag because I just can't hit anything
the
long.
Fitness part too. The fitness part too. The thing for you is you drop 20 pounds and add some muscle, everything's going to feel different to you.
Yep.
Your golf swing is going to feel different. You're going to feel different. You have to recalibrate, and to our point about Jack, for Jack, it's just the pure fact of you're still new to golf, right? That's where I feel lucky is I've had a golf club in my hand since I was a child and I've had lessons. And for me, I feel like it's more like calibration where Jack is refining it and Chris, you're sort of rebuilding is too aggressive, but you know what I mean when I say that.
Pretty close. So
you're rebuilding your body, which therefore is rebuilding your golf swing.
Yeah. And in turn, going to allow me to get back to where I need to be. So Yeah, I think that's kind of what I think is great about your goals are. It's getting you to a point where you can enjoy the game more. You can be at a point where you're going to be at a higher level, but you don't need as much work.
Well, I think there's something else too. And again, this was what, knowing that made me laugh. Like last year, they were talking about how Randy, I think, set the goal to practice every week, and he practiced 0 times. I've told you guys, like, I know Jack. Like, I don't think you ever said this specifically, but like, I know, like, Jack loves pounding balls. He loves, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, you like going to the range. You like tinkering. You like hitting balls. I hate it. So my point is, like, I know I need to do it. The second I get, and also be helpful when I get my Rapsodo, hashtag Big C, goes to go to USPS. But like, my point is, like, if I can go once every couple weeks with a Rapsodo, with a game plan, I know that's going to help me. It's like eating my vegetables, right? But it's once every 2 weeks. It's not 3 times a week. I don't like it, right? And so you're telling me if I can go, I can play. And I've made, in between my round, I've made, fuck the math, 400 putts inside of 5 feet. I've had one really good Dillinger Range session. I'm going to play better, but I don't want to do more than that. Maybe at some point, because I think next year my big goal is I want to, compete in the California Mid-Am. This year, that's not the goal yet. It's just more of like the foundations, right? Like just more. I think this will help me be more consistent because this is not really one of my goals, but the big thing is I'm really kind of going all in on the decade golf idea of hit driver all the time, hit it everywhere, swing hard. And like, I'm pretty good, but man, like if you can tell me just by going to CrossFit and getting some real upper body strength, I can just add 20, 25 more yards off the tee. That's way more beneficial to my game than going and hitting 6 irons and just over and over and over again, at least for me. So it's kind of having to switch my mindset of, hey, instead of, waking up this morning at the crack of dawn and playing, Spanos, maybe going and lifting is actually what's more beneficial for me. And that's an adjustment, right? But I think the big thing that makes me happy about 2020, 2021 and having y'all in my life is like, golf's my thing, right? But it's not the volume, because both of the last years it was play 52 rounds. I did that, but I also didn't really get much better. And now it's like I may play 35 rounds this year. Let's be honest, I probably will play more than 50 just because our golf trips and all this stuff adds up. But my point is, if I play 46 rounds, but they're more thoughtful and they're more diligent, and I'm better prepared to play in them, that'll be better. I just do,
Yeah. Less is more sometimes.
So those are my goals. Less is more. Yeah, but I think the way to put it is less is more, but less is still a lot more than nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like how many minutes of stretching last year? 0. How many practice sessions? 4. How many putts on my putting mat? Like 100 all year. I implement this, it's like a fucking million more, God forbid I may get into a groove and have a good podcast and I put 100 putts, but it's like, again, I'm sitting here watching National Championship on my fat ass. Like, just sit here and fucking roll out your glutes, man. Like, it's not rocket science,
So we're just going to say it. Main goal, no matter what, to be honest, for all of us should be to win the cookout. Let's just put it all out there. All I really give a shit this year is to be at.
Well, me and you cannot. One of us is going to lose the cookout, and then Jack's going to be along for the ride for one of them.
Yeah,
pretty much.
My whole goal this year is to scout everybody that is invited, hit them up, chat with them, see where their game's at. Oh, I'm gonna get all the behind the scenes info, so that when I get there, I'm prepared with a binder of where everybody's at in their game. So when I draft, this is going to be the most strategic draft that I've ever done.
So we just found out is Big C is the dad who's like a 4-year-old soccer who's like, we won. Look at this fucking championship. It's like, like Mini C is like, Dad, can we have a popsicle? And it's like, yeah, fucking championship. Yeah.
Orange slices are over there.
Oh my god. Can I have an orange slice? If you eat a hot dog, you're gonna like it. If you put mustard in there, I'm gonna be very upset. Put relish and ketchup.
I always forget that Big C does not like mustard because
I do
put
like mustard. I choose the ketchup and relish. But if I can go full on ketchup, relish, mustard, like a full Chicago dog, I'm about it.
Okay.
But usually it's just like ketchup, mustard, relish packets, and I usually just option for the relish ketchup. I don't hate mustard. I just don't necessarily like a mustard dog like everybody says is the way you should eat hot dogs.
I like it on a Polish, so but that's just been my
thing. Hot link, I prefer mustard.
It's funny. I still know this is true, but I still have, it's like the Cookie Monster, like sporting cookies. I just picture you just like doing a line of relish and being like, oh yeah, that like fake sugary stuff right in your nose.
Well, relish for sure is a must. Period. Like if it's mustard or ketchup, it has to have relish. And I've bagged on every golf course that doesn't have relish packets. Like you're a fucking shit show if you don't have a relish packet.
Sounds like a piece of merch, like no relish packets. Like fuck you. That was not creative at all.
I'm gonna make sure that Soul Park doesn't have any fucking relish packets.
I'm gonna bring my own bottle, my own fucking jar with me.
All I know is Soul Park. Free ad for Soul Park. They just they redid their food situation, and it looks real good. Their menu looks fantastic.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for this. Was very self-aggrandizing hour and 50 minutes of us talking about push cuts, stretching, heart disease, all this kind of shit. So thank y'all for listening. And it goes without saying that starting next week, we're going to get back to the real origins of this pod. So just to prepare y'all for that. Two-part pod about our Vegas trip. The first three courses the first two courses we played were non-Pete Dye courses, so we'll start there. And then it just so happened that the last three courses we did were all Pete Dye. So we'll be talking one pod about the first two, second pod about the last three. So it'll be the next 2 weeks. And then I think we'll probably get back to talking about some local courses. I know Jack and I need to talk about Spanos. We were just there. Stockton is so fucking far away from everybody, but it's a wonderful course. And some of that stuff coming up soon. But yeah, anything else, boys?
Keep an eye out on social media. Along with those two pods with Vegas, we're going to have a lot of content that's going to be posted from that trip as well. So keep your eyes peeled.
And I did not approve that. I don't know if I should be saying this, but in the near future, we're not going to give an exact deadline, but new logo is dropping. We've been in the lab with some very creative people, and we have a logo that we're really, really stoked on that should be dropping everywhere pretty soon.
Pretty awesome. So keep an eye out for both of those. Great video coming out featuring our one and only Ashton. It is a fucking gem, and you do not want to miss that on our Instagram. So keep an eye out. If you don't already follow, we are at Municipals Golf on Instagram and Twitter, which we are going to get better at Twitter. We're going to try.
We're going to try. Instagram is where to find it. What I really want is Jack has all these weird thoughts. I just want Jack to I really want Jack to run the Twitter. I mean, I think Jack has so many I don't know. Jack has so many things like, what the fuck? It's like, that's what we need. We need that spicy takes on Twitter.
All right, fellas.
I'll do my best. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you both. Was really looking forward to this pod.
I'm going to go hit 500 high draws, Jack. Okay, is that cool?
All right. I love it, man. Put it on the list.
Cue the music.
Okay. Peace.